It was the most embarrassed I've felt in a very long time. A little while ago, my girlfriend Jordan took me to a salsa dancing event. This included a 1-hour beginner class and then a social, which was basically an open dance floor where you could mix and match and dance with everyone there. Jordan has many years of formal dance experience. I, on the other hand, do not, but I like to think I'm at least somewhat coordinated with a decent sense of timing. So I was both nervous and excited to learn a dance that I had never tried before. So we got there and the class got started. Even though it was advertised as a beginner class, it had a mix of people of different skill levels. A good number of folks seemed to be fairly experienced and quite comfortable. Maybe they were just there to warm up before the social. Salsa is a partner dance, and I was learning as the lead, while Jordan was learning as the follower. So even if I messed something up, it was just with her, so it wasn't a big deal. As they were teaching us the basics, I thought I was doing pretty well. I was keeping pretty good time with the music, and I was able to follow all the dance moves that they were teaching us. So things were going pretty well. But then they changed things up. They made us all stand in a circle, and after each new sequence, the leads had to rotate one pair left. So from that point onward, we were constantly shifting partners. Side note, from a class standpoint, this totally made sense. Not everyone came in pairs, and there were more leads than followers. So constantly switching partners gave everyone a chance to practice dancing in pairs. Sometimes this would just mean that the leads would have to dance by themselves for a sequence. So while it made sense from a class standpoint, I hadn't expected this to happen. I had gone into it assuming we would stay with the same partner the whole time. I wasn't mentally prepared to be switching partners. So suddenly, I was out of the comfort zone that I had let myself settle into, and the pressure felt much higher. If I messed up, it was now going to be in front of a random person, and it seemed like it was going to be much more embarrassing. And guess what? I messed up. A lot. The way they were teaching involved different sequences and moves built upon each other. Sequence A, switch partners. Sequence A into sequence B, switch partners. Sequence A into sequence B into sequence C, switch partners again. At one point, I wasn't able to keep up and didn't nail down the sequence they had just taught. And because of that, I couldn't transition into the sequences that followed it. I would mess up. Every single time. As soon as I messed up, I would feel like I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And because we kept switching partners, I was messing up in front of all of these new people. Half the class got to see me mess up a sequence, and then try to awkwardly salvage the dance, all while apologizing profusely. I felt like I was letting them all down, and not giving them the chance to practice the sequence for themselves. And as they kept teaching more sequences, it just got worse and worse. Now, everyone was really kind and patient, and I wasn't the only one who was messing things up. But man, I was so embarrassed. It was the most embarrassed I'd felt in a very long time. And that eventually got me thinking, mainly about two things. One, the concept of failing at something and looking incompetent in public. I don't know about you, but this is one of my biggest fears. The idea of failing epically at something in front of a bunch of strangers makes me shudder. The thought of not being able to do something, or just looking bad or dumb in general, is something that I will go to great lengths to avoid. I feel like I get embarrassed pretty quickly. So if I'm in public, I will rarely put myself in situations where there's a chance I might look incompetent. If I think I'm going to be bad at something, I usually won't try it. I'll say, I'm fine, and I'll pass on it, even if a little part of me did want to try it. And in this case, I did want to try salsa dancing, and I didn't think I was going to be messing up so badly. I didn't think I was going to look incompetent, but I did. Here I was, not being able to get the dance moves, and experiencing one of my biggest fears in real time. And two, if things aren't going well, how quickly they can spiral from bad to worse. I think everyone can think of a time that this has happened to them. If you mess up, it's so easy to lose your focus and get in your head, and mess up again. And if it keeps happening, it can quickly become a disaster, especially if you're in a high pressure situation, like a presentation, a job interview, or a performance. I think maintaining and regaining your composure, and then recovering and being able to get yourself back on track in these situations is sometimes one of the hardest things you can do. And now that I've had some more time to reflect on these things, I feel like my mindset has changed a little bit. I think my fear of looking incompetent in public stems from the general fear of looking incompetent in an area where I feel I should be competent in. But being bad at something because it's my first time doing it is a much different situation than being bad at something that I should be good at. And I sometimes have trouble separating the two. I want to be good at everything, even if I've never done it before. And I don't want to be perceived as incompetent in any way. And the thing is, I'm not going to be good at everything. I'm not going to be good at things I haven't tried before. I just won't be competent in those areas. And so I need to be more patient with myself when it comes to failing at these things and looking incompetent in front front of others. Of course, it's still not fun when it happens, especially if everyone else seems to be getting it and you're the only one who's not. Things can go downhill pretty fast. Each passing second of awkwardness feels like an eternity. It's hard not to be critical of yourself. It's hard not to panic. At least a little bit. And it's hard not to feel like everyone around you is judging you. But most of the time, that isn't true. Most people may not even notice that something is going wrong for you. If they do notice, I feel like most people will be patient and kind. They probably won't even care. It's only a big deal if you make it out to be. And once it's over and done with, and you let some time go by, it becomes so inconsequential that you may wonder why you worried so much in the first place. The only one who's really gonna remember and dwell on these things is you. When I think about how embarrassed I felt in the moment messing up all those dance sequences, that was all in my own head. I'm probably never going to see any of those people ever again. Even if I did, I wouldn't know their faces well enough to remember them from that class. I don't remember which of them were good or bad at dancing, so I'm pretty sure none of them will remember me, or the 3 times they danced with me, where I didn't know what I was doing. And even if they did, why would they care? Why should I? The one thing I do remember was that everyone was very patient and understanding, and no one made me feel bad for messing up. It was only me who was focused on it. And that's usually how these things go. So I'm gonna try to remember this the next time I'm holding myself back because I'm scared I might look incompetent. Or the next time things aren't going well and are starting to spiral from bad to worse. I'll try to remember that the only one who's gonna be worrying or dwelling on this is me. And if I am feeling embarrassed, I'll try to think to myself, yes, this kind of sucks right now, but this is not gonna matter in 2 months. I'll try to enjoy myself in the moment and laugh about it. Because if it won't matter in 2 months, why should it matter now? And I think shifting my mindset to that will significantly change how I experience the situation. If you're messing something up, but you're enjoying yourself and laughing about it, instead of panicking and worrying about it, that changes the whole dynamic. Not just for you, but for everyone else. You don't look incompetent for not being able to do something. You look self-assured, relaxed, and carefree. Not a bad swap. So what happened in the rest of the class? Well, luckily, I somehow managed to figure out the sequence that was giving me so much trouble. I think I took one of the times where I was between partners to closely watch the instructor, and all of a sudden it clicked. I could do it. We kept rotating, and I had a bit of a redemption lap, where I could show everyone who I had previously messed up with that I now knew what I was doing. So overall, I managed to salvage it. And at the end of the class, I was feeling much less embarrassed. But it was still one of the most humbling experiences I've been through in a really long time. And while it was really embarrassing for me, I'm glad I went through it. And I'm looking forward to trying to shift my mindset the next time this happens. Anyway, if this resonated with you, or you found this insightful, your thumbs up is appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on personal development and self-improvement. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.